Good day, and today we're going to take a quick look at Mountain Blade. And this is a game that I've played a lot fairly recently, and well, and allow me to quit without saving, because there's so many ways for you to get screwed in this game. Now, Mountain Blade is essentially a RPG roguelike sort of game. Essentially, there is no end game in this game. There is no basic storyline other than you're a mercenary commander, and you just have to amass loot, get an army, and basically try to ensure that whatever kingdom you decide to ally with wins. But it's a very engrossing game. It's a game you can kind of just turn your brain off and play and not really think too much about. And when I say engrossing, it's engrossing in a general sense. The storyline you go through isn't very engrossing, but the overall kingdom of Caledonia, it's not Caledonia, it's Caldaria, something like that. I just read it. But in any event, is kind of interesting to say the least, and we're going to go all intelligence because we do like them skill points. From what I've found so far, and I'm pretty sure a veteran of this game series will know more than I, but you really want pathfinding and you really want spotting. And tactics won't hurt either. Also, prisoner management is a good idea as well. A lot of these other skills you can find troops to go along with you that actually have these skills. They're usually named characters. They're party members, but you don't actually interact with them in any way. The overall interaction with your party members and things of that nature, let's get one-handed for right now, because that's all we're going to have. And crossbows, because you always spawn with a longsword and a crossbow. And your character will always look somewhat ugly. So I basically just randomize. Yeah, this guy looks pretty good. Except let's get rid of his beard, because I never was. Yeah! There's our hero, ladies and gentlemen. He could look worse. Although his eyes look so dour, don't they? Alright, power, glory. Let's get out there and let us first... Oh yeah, this is just a basic sprite, as you can imagine. But it works well enough. The graphics in this game aren't that advanced, but then again, they don't really need to be. Now then, what is new with General Lotz? Holy shit, we almost... Basically, you run into these enemies, but we don't want to actually run into any enemies right now because we're just one guy on a horse. So what we want to do is we want to recruit a few troops, and we're going to the Kingdom of Swedia, aka Sweden. And if Sweden is what I think it is, I could be wrong. Sweden is the one that has IKEA, right? They've got great IKEA soldiers. Okay, let's see. We got some decent armor. Like I said, longsword, crossbow. But the Kingdom of Sweden here has some of the best troops you can get. You go to each little village, you can recruit more troops. There's all sorts of little side objectives you can do. It's a very open-ended game, especially since you don't have much to do in it, other than just some bandits. How many are there? It's 12. Can we take on 12 with just 5 guys? I could probably do it. Let's take on these guys. Nothing but cold steel, you scum! Okay, and once you get more troops, let's actually just have... You can control your troops in different ways, but right now we're just going to have them stand there, because the mountain bandits are going to have, I believe, horses. And right now we get a crossbow that works fairly well. If you get a headshot, you can kill your enemies. Now, as you get a larger army, you won't actually need to fight battles personally. In fact, half the time I'll just park my guy and then read a book whilst my army completely decimates everyone else. And that's the thing about this game. The battles can get really, really huge. As in, like, although you'll always be outnumbered in a few ways. Because, like, you might have, like, 70 troops, but you'll be fighting an army of, like, 300. But their army will be very crappy, to say the least. So you'll be able to easily dismantle them. The best idea, really, is to level your troops up by just fighting these random battles. Because your troops do level up into very powerful units, but I would not suggest buying any troops, because you can actually, we're going to probably see some of them in a tavern soon enough. Some troops you can just hire right off the bat, and you don't even have to upgrade them in any way. Although they will upgrade slowly, I will say that, but usually they cost more and they're not as good as the troops you take time to level up with. And it's a lot more fun just leveling up these guys, because they start as basically peasants without any shoes, and they end up... Actually, let's have these guys charged, because they're all coming after me. I'm not in too much danger here, but those guys do need XP. But they go from shoeless peasants to fully armed and armored knights. But of course their price goes up a bit. Essentially, unlike in other RPGs, your party actually wants to be fed and paid. So at the end of each in-game week, you gotta pay them some money. Now what you can do is, as your leadership skill increases, or put more points into that, you can pay them less. How that works, I'm not entirely sure. They just like following you out of loyalty or camaraderie and they don't want any money. I don't know if I want to do that. That's not a good way for a mercenary to live. Yeah, and like, some of the enemies will throw rocks at you, and sometimes your troops will throw rocks. There they come! All they got are war picks. I'm talking about reading a book. Recently I have read 3 books that I do highly recommend. I'm certain a lot of you have heard of Drizzt Do'Urden. I read the first, not chronological, ah damn, one of them died. Actually, you can't get any XP for that. That's one of the things. Your troops, if you have a medic with you, like a party member that can do medic, or you are a medic, they'll just get knocked unconscious, as you saw what happened to that guy there. But if you don't have that, they'll just die. Probably one of the best ways to take out horsemen is just cut the horse out from one of them. I don't think any of my recruits have killed a single guy. What a bunch of worthless cretins. But the very first, not chronological in series, but the first published novel in the Dark Elf series, The Crystal Shard. A very good novel, to say the least. It was definitely a lot more serious than I've been led to believe. Essentially, I'd just been led to believe that it was generic fantasy fare, but it got dark. Did that one guy kill them all? Well, I guess he just answered my question. And I killed him in one hit. Way to go, guys! Well, there's my entire army. Couldn't even handle one troop. Well, that went all my recruits. Also, you get loot from them, so you can get more dinars. It's actually silver, not gold. Alright, so all one of you can level up. That's great, but I can level up, so I liked that one. Let's see what we got here. Let's level up intelligence once more. Let's see. Leadership. Where is that? Leadership. Can't upgrade that anymore, but oh well. We'll leave. You don't need persuasion. I actually made the mistake of doing that once. And you don't really need that. Trainer's a good one to get. And we'll get 2 points in that, because that will basically level up your troops as you just go along the minimap. Let's get... put it all on the sword. Okay, let us save. Because, once again, this is a very random game. It's very roguelike in that respect. So, you really want to save all the time before each battle. Now, you can't actually die in this game, which kind of makes the whole concept of permadeath not exactly accurate, but you can lose all your shit, all your gold, and all your army, and you really don't want that. Let's see, we get a total of 203 gold. That's not too bad. And, of course, you got basic shops, of which I don't ever really buy anything. Really, the only thing I buy is food. Let's get some more smoked fish. We're eating good tonight. Fish heads, man. We got a total of 2 troops. 2 troops. Well, me and one other guy. Okay, let's see if we can't get some more guys here. No one! Well, I guess they heard that I lost everybody. I swear, I'm not a killer DM. I'm not a killer leader. I don't just throw waves and waves of men at my enemies until their internal kill counters reset. But the Crystal Shard was pretty good. The different characters were interesting enough. I had heard that in the Crystal Shard, old Daryl Do'Urden himself was supposed to just be a character named Wolfgar's sidekick, but I didn't really get that vibe. I got the vibe that Wolfgar, great, deserters, those guys usually have some good gear, but they usually are a bit more powerful than I'd like to face right now with only a small army. How fast is he going? 7.3, I'm going 6.7. He's going to catch up with me probably now. We're not done with you. You'll regret ever leaving your army. Okay, stop. Halt. My army looks great, doesn't it? And trust me, as we play through more and more, we'll eventually get them to where they'll actually be somewhat competent. Right now, we're not facing the tough guys. The tough guys are the Sea Raiders, which we'll probably see soon enough. Oh, they're all on horseback. Oh god, these are man-at-arms. Oh god, that could have gone better. Well, that could have gone a little bit better. We're gonna surrender. Enemies take a prisoner. Okay, whatever. Quit without saving. This is why I say save all the goddamn time. Because if you do not, you will likely lose your entire army, all your money, and be back at square one. Okay, we've got five recruits. Now, what we want to do is what I want to do is I'd like to actually have, well, we got even odds on that one, but I don't want to be even. I want way more troops than the other side has. Really, the best enemies to fight at this low level are the looters. Half the time, they don't even have a fucking shirt. And all they got is a rusty dagger. Ah, see, there's some right there. Let's save, just in case. Let's do it. But back to old Drizzt Do'Urden. His character, he had actually a fairly interesting, not necessarily a character arc, but a really good introduction. He introduced him as being very competent and fairly friendly to everybody. There were some other characters in the book as well. Brunor Battlehammer, who is your basic dwarf character. He was cool. He was sort of the gruff leader type. You had Wolfgar. Wolfgar had a great character arc. Once again, I wouldn't say he was the hero of the book, per se. Actually, he is. Well, I have that happen sometimes. I'm like, yeah, Drizzt was not a sidekick. Drizzt wasn't a sidekick, though. He was more of a mentor to Wolfgar. Wolfgar starts out as a very violent and kind of, not necessarily evil, but definitely morally ambiguous barbarian, kind of like Conan in some respects. And as time goes on, he learns, you know, to essentially create a life for himself instead of just destroying everything. He learns, basically, from Brunor Battlehammer and Drizzt, and basically becomes a better person for it. I don't want to spoil anything. It's a very awesome change. Definitely, his character arc is definitely makes the whole thing worth reading. Yay, we win! Well, that was easy. Okay, and they had a grand total of shit for armor. But then again, they are looters after all. Alright, so, and this is how it begins. You basically just want, I think we'll actually just take these 10 guys for right now and just go around and kill those basic bandits for a little bit. Level them up a little bit, and then we'll increase the army. Now, as you can see here, you can also capture prisoners. They're worth about 50 gold apiece. But my weekly cost is 21 bucks. If I don't pay them, they get disgruntled. If I don't have food, they get disgruntled. And if they get disgruntled enough, let's go kill these guys. They get disgruntled enough, they'll eventually leave you, which is never good. But the Wolfgar character was pretty good. The villain, there were several villains in the novel as well. They were all of pretty good quality, I suppose. Nothing too amazing, but they weren't your, well, in practice they were your basic mustache twirlers, but in all reality they actually had reasons to be mustache twirlers, and they actually had some realistic goals. Overall, if you're not a fan of fantasy and you don't want to read Gotrek and Felix, although why you would want to do that, I have no idea, then it's another good jumping on point for fantasy, as it's not too impenetrable. You're not looking at Lord of the Rings level of complexity here, where there's 18 different characters with names you can barely even say, and you have to keep track of 3 different storylines. It's really, it's a good jumping on point. Incidentally, I also would recommend reading the first Dragonlance book. I believe it's shit, can't remember the name. Let's take a look at my phone, because that's actually how I read my books right now, since my Nook is no longer available. I should look at it here. It was Dragons of Autumn and the Autumn and Twilight, which is the first Dragonlance book. Just have the ebook version, and it was pretty bloody good. It was definitely of a more, God damn it! One of them got wounded, but that's fine. Well, 11 whole gold. It all adds up right now. It all adds up. Hey, you guys actually all survived, except for one guy who got hit. Okay, let's save again. It's always good to save after every battle. But Dragons of Autumn and Twilight is definitely more of a high fantasy kind of concept. Has we can join the tournament, but they're so boring. Let's see, anybody in here? See, like you could hire these guys, but they cost a lot and they kind of suck. All right, let's sell all the shit. Yeah, be sure to hold down control, or Catarl as I likes to call it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to drag and drop, and that takes forever. Let's see. You can also do trading. You can trade in furs and velvet and spices and shit, but, well, honestly, I find that rather boring. I never did have that much fun with the trading systems of certain games. There was some game I played a long time ago. It's a space sim that I got for really cheap. Alright, so basically this is how you get a lot of money real fast. You go in here and you fight in the tourney, and you just bet on yourself. But if you lose it all, which is why I made sure to save, because why would you not save scum? Save scumming is as old as PC gaming itself. Those who don't save scum do not deserve to be a part of the PC gaming master race. But in any event, Dragons of Autumn and Twilight essentially has a much larger party than, well, actually has a party in general that does adventuring, because I don't believe there was that much adventuring in Crystal Shard. I think mainly it was just... in fact, I can guarantee you, it all took place around 10 Towns, which is the main location of that particular novel. But in... yeah, I'm taking a lot of damage. You get out of there. But in Dragons of Autumn and Twilight, it had a basic RPG adventuring party. You had Tanis, half-elven, who, as you can imagine, is half-elf. A half-human, half-elf. And he's essentially the leader. Might as well just call him the fighter, because that's what he does. Then you got Karamon, another fighter. Then you got... see, there's a lot of characters, and I'm trying to remember what they're all named. You got the guy, just Joe Guy, that was his name, I think. And also Hugh Man. You know, he was the most human guy I ever saw. You got Karamon. You got Karamon, and I guess it goes to show you just how little I remember the guy. Because he was kind of a generic character to say the least. Oh, come on! What is that guy's name? You guys are probably screaming it at your computer screen right now. It's the guy. He has big mustaches on his face, and he's a knight. Oh, great! You get fucked if all you have is a bloody bow. And sometimes, I swear this is true, sometimes the game does not allow you to fucking pick up another weapon. Oh god. You know what? Where can I go to just... everybody's on horseback. God, we're probably gonna have to reload the save. Why can't I just have a sword to beat people up with? Because all you can really do is stand... because I don't have any skill in archery. You know what? Screw it. Go with that saving. Sword save game. Save scum is what we do. I'm still trying to remember that guy's name. I cannot remember that guy's name for the life of me. Okay, fuck it. That guy... you know what? You want to know what a paladin is? He's a paladin. And he's not an annoying paladin. He's intelligent when he needs to be. But he's a very generic kind of character. He's a knight of Salonia? Silesia? I can't remember. He's a knight of something. He's the basic knight character. There we go. That's good enough. And basically he doesn't do much other than just swing a sword. Then you got Karamon, who's another fighter character, whose brother is, I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of this guy, Ryslin, or Raslin? Raslin. He does wrestling. He beats people up with his... no, the mage, Ryslin. Ryslin? Damn, I don't know how to pronounce his name. So I'm going to sound like an idiot. I think the game is punishing me now. It's like, you don't want our bows? Here's a javelin you can throw. Because I know you put all your points in that. These are slightly easier to use. Well, I'm just standing here just raping this guy in a corner. But you got Raslin, who is Raslin, who's the mage. But he's he's a really damaged mage. He's like, whilst becoming a mage, he ended up getting really hurt by something. We're not really sure what. As you go through the book, you get some clues as to what happened. And he's the brother of Karaman, and Karaman basically defends him from other things, and basically is very loyal to him, even though Raceland is not really what you would call... I think I pronounced it right that time. Oh, the horse is attached, he's stuck in the wall! Even though Raceland is kind of mean to Karaman all the time. Then you have a dwarf character, whose name I can't remember for the life of me, who didn't really have that much of an impact on the story all that much. Really, the character that stuck in my mind the most was the halfling character, who was Tasselhoff Burfoot. I almost called him Regis. Regis the halfling was from Crystal Shard, actually. And he was an annoying asshole. Just a completely annoying ass-buttock, as some would put it. But Tasselhoff Burfoot is actually a pretty cool character. Let me tell you this. He is the best halfling character I've ever read. He's got some of the basic halfling mischievousness, but he always comes through for the party in the end. And he's a very loyal character. And he had a really cool character arc and did a lot of really cool things in the book. He's the one character that stood out in my mind the most. And then there's a few other characters as well. There were two barbarian characters, once again, who... The whole concept of the book... The book itself is a bit hard to get into. As I don't think the narrative is poorly written. I'm taking a shit ton of damage. The narrative isn't poorly written. It's just a bit dense at times. There's a lot of stuff that really happens in the book, and it all leads to each other. But at the same time, it's not as straightforward as Crystal Shard. Crystal Shard is just a basic... It's just a basic fantasy romp, whereas Dragons of Autumn and Twilight is more along the lines of Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of different characters, each doing a lot of different things. There's a lot of high-level concepts going on. And really, it's kind of hard to draw a bead on what the basic plot is, other than the gods are coming back into the world of Dragonlance, or Kryn, as the world is. I find it difficult. I'm basically talking about two fantasy books from two different universes. Forgotten Realms takes place in Faerun, Dragonlance takes place in Kryn. They're both completely different from one another. And the gods left Kryn during the Cataclysm, basically where, as you can imagine, shit got fucked up. A lot of it did. Gods left, and now they're coming back. But nobody really believes it at first. Then you get the barbarians showing up. One eventually becomes a cleric of Mishakal. And, well, then there's the villain doesn't even really show up until, I think, like the last half of the book, I think. The main villain of the book is Lord Verminard, which is a very unimpressive name. I mean, it's like, might as well just call him Dr. Evil. But Lord Verminard doesn't even show up until a long-ass time into the book. They don't even meet up with him until, like, the last quarter. Which I thought was actually pretty good. Because the basic idea of the book was just an adventure. And it felt really good, even if it was a little dense at times. It's definitely a book I would recommend, but if you want a nice, simple fantasy story, you might want to just stick with the Drizzt books for now. I'm definitely thinking about reading the rest of the series, because I actually have the rest of the series. But now that we're in the last book I read recently, that I also recommend, I basically got lucky getting some really good books. Oh, that's mainly because there's been a lot of books on my list that I haven't gotten to until recently. The Moat in God's Eye. It's a classic science fiction book from the 1970s written by Larry Niven and J. Pontineal. What can I say? I can't pronounce names right. For some of you old fans, Talon Karade. My God, that got so much hate calling him Talon Karade. I think some of you guys even complained how I called a ship Wild Karade and all that. I thought Talon Karade sounded good. God damn it. I guess it matters anyway. Oh yeah, you know what I'm gonna take a moment and complain. Star Wars dead. And don't even get me started on episode 7. I don't care about episode 7 anymore. I mean, there was a time when I thought the trailer looked like shit. Now I'm just pissed off at the fact that the EU isn't canon anymore. But you want to know the best part? You want to know what the best part was? The EU stopped being canon right in the very worst period of my life. So it's like, hey, you know, your life's going bad. Well, guess what? You know Star Wars? You know that series that you like? Well, guess what? Shit. Son of a cunt. Fuck you, veteran fighter. Hope you fucking die. We're trying this again. So I can show up veteran fighter. Hate that guy. You know what I heard? I heard he was a communist. Yep, exactly. Part of the Reds. But anyway. Are you fucking kidding me? Like I said, this is the most boring part of the game, but it allows me to yammer on. So it's like, you know, not only does your life suck now, but guess what? Star Wars, that's gone. Yep, non-canon. Non-canon. That was just fucking brilliant. And of course, everybody on the internet was like mocking the fans of Star Wars. They're like, oh, they're all gonna flip a shit, man, because that's so funny. It's like, even the internet has turned on me now. Motherfuckers. It did not make me all that happy, I can guarantee. So, you know what? Doesn't matter how I pronounce Talon Karade anymore, because guess what? He's non-canon. What are they going to replace him with? Joe Guy, who's like a fucking generic Han Solo ripoff? Oh wait, they already did that. They actually did it fairly well. With fucking Dash Rendar. He's not canon anymore either. Fucking brilliant. So, you know, every time I fucking see, you know, those goddamn Star Wars Legends, I just want to... There's no emoticon for what I'm feeling! Because it's like, why? Why, Star Wars? Why? Why did you have to do that? Thanks, J.J. Abrams. But General, that's not his fault, says you all. You know, I don't care, I'm going to blame him anyway. And what if Star Wars Episode 7's good? I don't care! Star Wars is dead to me. General, why did you go see Star Wars Episode 7 no less than 15 times? Well, I killed the horse. I feel good about myself. But we'll see what Episode 7's like. We'll see. Oh yes, we will see. It may be good. I still think the early trailer, though, did look kind of cheap. The thing is, when I first saw the earliest trailer, my first thought was actually just, it looks like a really good fan trailer. Now, of course, these days, it looks like the film may be good. I don't know. We will just have to see. I'm not going to say what I think a lot of people have said so far. It can't be any worse than the prequel trilogy. Yes, it can. You just know it can. Well, there's another wall horse. Why do I have to have fucking javelins? I didn't put any points in that shit. Well, I took his horse down. I'm real good at that, but that's not... Oh, I got him. Sweet. So, yeah, Star Wars Legends. You know what's funny? I actually forgot that that was even the case. I had forgot... Oh, great. This is fucking brilliant. A fucking boat. Why are you running the... Fucking morons. But I'd forgot that Star Wars Legends even existed. Because I was like, one day on Amazon, I was just looking up books, and I saw Star Wars Tarkin. That looks kind of cool. And then I realized, oh wait, this is the new canon. And I did not read it. I just was like, fuck that. I am not reading the new canon. I don't care if it's good. They're using some of the old Star Wars rides. I don't care. I don't care. I'm really tempted to just not, you know, complete this here. This tournament here and just have us go Maraud. Maybe I can get a sword. Okay, let's dismount here. You know what? It's better than what we had. To start chucking javelins. Yeah, fuck you. Star Wars Legends. It's like, used to be everything was to some extent canon. And it all had to work within that framework. You know, and that's what made it better than Star Trek. Because Star Trek's only canon... Star Trek plays fast and loose with its canon. Whereas Star Wars, everything worked. Everything worked. And now it's all just wiped out. It's like, duh, people wouldn't understand. Read a fucking book, people. If not, then don't go watch Star Wars. Okay? Go watch fucking Twilight or something. Whatever the modern equivalent of Twilight is. Anyway, rant over. But Mote in God's Eye, which is the other thing I wanted to discuss for a moment. Looks like it's going to be... Well, it doesn't look like it is. It was a good novel, to say the least. It was definitely a very classic sci-fi novel, but it's not... You sometimes will read old sci-fi... I almost hit my own troop. You will sometimes read old sci-fi novels that don't make a lot of sense. Because, like, they'll be like, oh, this new tablet computer. Their pocket computers were more or less like what we'd have today. Like our phones and our iPads and Windows 7 pads and all that. Or Windows 8 pads. Or OS X pads or whatever the case may be. That worked. None of the characterizations were too strange. You didn't have people drinking from highballs. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't even know what that even is. It's a type of drink from like the 1930s or something along those lines. I'd read a science fiction book, an old science fiction book called The Great Explosion. I was quite disappointed by that novel because there was no explosions within it. It was a metaphor for the great human population explosion into outer space. I felt kind of gypped on that. I kind of wanted it to be a big-ass explosion, and there wasn't. There was no fighting whatsoever. Unless it was like the verbal kind. But none of the characterizations were bad. One of the things that I liked the most about it, though, was the fact that, well, it felt like it could have actually been a legitimate, plausible future. Now, some of the technology wasn't futuristic enough in some respects, but the novel actually explains it. I did some research later. Apparently, the Mote in God's Eye novel takes place in the Codominium universe, where there's been like 3 human empires, and each one has fallen, and now the latest one has, you know, just the barest scraps of the technology from the other empires. So that was a cool concept. So anything that was ancient seeming or old seeming makes sense in context, which I like. So it's definitely well worth reading. It's a first contact story where you got to figure out, are the aliens hostile or are they not, and what secrets can they be keeping. It's very well written. I do like Larry Niven and Jay. Ah, damn it! I don't have any money. Damn. I forgot. I don't. Oh, this is fucking brilliant. This is. Don't this just beat all? Oh, good. It's not a bow. I wasn't paying full attention. Ah, but you got a bow. It means I can just keep chucking javelins at you and win. Just rape him in a corner for maximum damage. Maybe if I threw it at his head, it might work. And it did. Yay! But the other novel from Jay Pontineal and Larry Niven that I read that was really good was Footfall. It was the alien invasion story, but made more sense. But that novel aged way, way worse than Mote in God's Eye, because that novel was written in the 1970s. And can I place a bet on myself? $10! Brilliant. It was written in the 1970s, or was it the 80s? I can't remember if it was the 70s or 80s. Let me guess, he's got a sword and I've got a bow. Don't that just beat all? Alright, let's try to just... If we take out his horse, it'll make it a little easier. There we go. Because Footfall, since it was set in the 70s... No, since it was set in the 90s, but written in the 80s. There we go. So, right off the bat, they thought the Soviet Union would exist that long, which it didn't, for those that may or may not know. You can just imagine so many people, it's like, history's a boring class. The Soviet Union still exists, right? I bet Putin wish it did. But it don't. So the Soviet Union still exists. We got a moon base. Ah! 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 I'm dead inside when I laugh at that. For those that may not know, General Lotz, ever since I was young, was a big proponent of the space program. In fact, my grandfather was a part of it. He, I think he worked at NASA during the time of the moon landings and actually went inside the lunar lander. He was a fire. He was. When I say fireman, that doesn't exactly describe everything he did, but that's the closest thing I can say. And even knew some of the astronauts. So there was that. So I've always had a big interest in space exploration, and well, America don't really care about space. But half the people in America don't even know where space even is. It's like, that's like in Canada, right? Or Alaska. But anyway. So yeah, moon base. And of course, it's like, so the fact that the Soviet Union still exists was kind of hilarious, just because of how bad. If you actually study the history of the Soviet Union, they were doing bad in the 80s. So the idea they'd last until the 90s. But the overall story was pretty well written. Other than just, because once again, if I had read it in the 80s, it wouldn't really have mattered all that much. Because I'd be like, oh yeah, Soviet Union existing forever, sure. I'm doing nothing but hitting his shield. Headshot. And I don't think the internet existed in that novel as well. But overall, it was a well-written book. The aliens were plausible enough. Although, once again, they still had to be somewhat human, had to have somewhat limited technology. Although, I just love how smug people are these days when it comes to sci-fi. It's like, oh, this would never happen. Oh, they would never do this. Or, oh, like, how do you know? You know, that's one of the things I always like to ask people. How do you know? I'm just going to beat him down with a horse. Or like, oh, this is impossible. Oh, that's impossible. Yeah, okay, whatever. Whatever. You know what's impossible? You. You don't even have to make any sense, because no matter what you say, it doesn't matter. It'd be nice if I had something other than a fucking bow. And I can't even switch! Oh, this is a very non-updated version. This is just... I just re-downloaded this from GOG. I get this when it was free. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? I should be able to... I go faster than you. Okay, now, let's turn around. Shit. There we go. He's gonna knock... He's gonna kill the horse. No, he's not! Look at all those arrows! Fuck you, champion fighter. Great. I can't even bet on myself anymore. To be the best there ever was. This horse just handles like a car in GTA. I say that like I know what I'm talking about. Let's just... The combat engine isn't the most inspired, but you know what? It works. Let's just smack this guy around a bit. But classic sci-fi can be good, or it can be laughable. I remember there was one sci-fi book, I don't think I read it, I think I read about it, where like their computers went down, so they had to fix the... So they had to figure out a hyperspace jump using an abacus, or a slide rule, I forget. But all you guys don't even know what a slide rule even is. I've never even seen one, but it was an early type of... something. What do you use a slide rule for? I haven't thought about that. So I got 3,130 dinars. Was that worth it? I don't know. Because see, now we got plenty of money though. Because it's always good. It's always good to have money. So I think it might have been worth it. One of the things you can do is you can go to each individual village. Let's go kill these guys. You can go to each individual village, and sometimes there'll be quests to do. Usually it's the same quest over and over again. And what quest is that, you may ask? It's the quest to bring them cattle. God, that is the most boring quest. Where is that guy going? It's one of the most boring quests of all time. But if you're lucky, they will be attacked by... They'll have bandits there. You kill the bandits, they usually give you food or trade goods, and that's a good way to make money. But old sci-fi can be a bit interesting. Going back to that Great Explosion book I read, Okay, so like it's the future. It's as Yahtzee Croshaw would say, it's half past the future, and well, humanity has spacecraft that can go faster than light. And when they took off in these spaceships, they didn't bring any shuttles. Well, they brought shuttles, but they were too big. No, they weren't too big. They were too fast. And so one of the characters was like, "If only we had a biplane." It's like, really? You shouldn't even know what that is. That's one of the... Great. Lost one of my fucking recruits. I'm trying not to kill any of these guys so that my troops here will actually... Another recruit dead? Well, at least none of the militiamen are dead. Come on, you can... Thank you! Come on, come on, there you go. Yay, we are... A winner is us. I guess that fell shit... no, I didn't pick... I don't know where half the shit goes, but anyway. That's one of the problems with some sci-fi. It's like, you shouldn't even know what half of that shit is. That's why sometimes whenever I think of writing a sci-fi book, I'd set it in the distant future, and I would not use a single... Let's get another intelligent point. I would not use a single current... let's see. Let's get Iron Flesh so I can take a little more damage. And let's just get us more one-handed since that's the best thing to use. Let's save and let's go kill these looters here. They got 8 troops to their 5. We get absolutely no renown. Renown actually is helpful because it does basically have... But it makes... The kings around here, the kings and lords actually recognize that you exist, and you can get more. You can. They will. If you get high enough for renown, some kings will ask for your vassalage, and you'll get a well, you don't get a castle, but you get a town, and sometimes you can get a castle. Honestly, as in real life, sieges are not very fun, to say the least, and you lose a lot of troops when you do besiege. Sometimes, though. Since a lot of this game is very random, you'll spawn with like a guy and they'll spawn with an entire army as they try. There's no auto balance, essentially, or their auto balance has some fucked up priorities. It's like, okay, when they attack you, you don't have any troops, but they have everybody. So we'll spawn you with one guy, even though you have 80, and we'll give them like 1,000. It's like, really, really now that doesn't seem very fair. I mean, it's not fair to begin with, but you made it extra unfair, even though that doesn't make any sense. It's like, where are my troops? Are they just huddling inside the castle, not doing anything, not on the castle walls? Games. Sometimes they just don't make any goddamn sense. Come on, go down there and kill him. Get some nice XPs. I will kill that one guy, because he annoyed me with his white fur coat. Fur is murder, so therefore I shall murder you. Because that makes sense, and you guys are too slow, and I don't feel like wasting my time. Yay, we win again. I do recommend checking out some classic sci-fi just to see how the future ain't exactly what they thought it was going to be. Mainly because everybody thought, well, nobody really knew one way or the other that the Soviet Union wouldn't keep existing. I will tell you this, though. I would like there to be a Fallout novel series. It could be done. It might be pretty good, too. Okay, let's kill 9 looters here. We eventually got to sell all this random crap that we've been collecting. Really, it goes to show you how sci-fi really does predict the future in some respects, because in the 1970s nobody would have ever thought that you'd be able to carry a computer with you. Hell, I'm a product of the modern era, and even I'm somewhat surprised at just what my fucking phone can do. Because, like, a lot of people these days will be like, how could you ever have lived without it? And really, how did you ever live without it? Because, like, there's a gun shop I'm going to go take a look at soon, just to drool over one of the guns I got there. It's a Turkish Mauser. If any of you guys ever want to get a cheap rifle that's not a Mosin Nagant, you can get a Turkish Mauser, which some of them were actually manufactured in Germany, for around the same price. Well, actually, Mosin Nagants have gone up a lot. Holy shit, have they gone up. I actually found the tag of mine back in 2007, I bought a Mosin for $135, all matching numbers, with Arsenal Refurbish from the Tula Armory, and I do believe that that does command a significantly higher price than just a basic one. So there's that. Hell, my SKS, which for the longest time was a very popular low-budget rifle, I paid $140 for mine back in 2006. It was basically, I think it actually was, unissued. And like these days, for an unissued one, I think is like close to $400. Now, the one thing I did do recently is I did buy a new scope mount for it. Gonna put a red dot on that thing. Got a total of 100 gold. Alright, so we need more troops, because we only got 8 guys. Now, we could recruit from here. In fact, that's not a bad idea. We will recruit from the, this is the Kingdom of the Vengirs. We could go to those farmers and steal all their crops. We're not going to, because we're not bad guys. We're the good guys. We protect everyone. Well, by protect, I mean we just kill everyone who is automatically hostile. One thing about this game that I do like is this is definitely a more realistic game. Every single kingdom is just as bad as one another.
Your money or your life.
Okay, let's hope all of us don't die. Okay, stop. Everybody stop. Hold that position. When those horsemen show up, just kill them. Okay? All the troops supposed to show up? That's just me. Okay. Done. As you can clearly see from there, I'm playing this on all easy because I suck at this game. Well, no, I just want a game where my troops rush and attack. Or they Soviet an attack. And let's slice and dice. But overall, those novels that I've read recently are definitely well worth the read. I'm trying to think of anything else I wanted to bring up before we just focus solely on the game here. And I think that's about it, actually. I think one day in the next couple months, I am going to finally get out to the range. I'm going to have to sight in that new red dot. I think then I will review the SKS. Oh, also, that reminds me of something that I meant to mention. Ladies and gentlemen, I finally took down those political videos, not because my views changed at all, but I had broken my one major rule when it came to making videos, and that I did not want to make any videos that would be any more depressing than absolutely necessary. Now, sometimes I would snark about politics, and sometimes that I would directly mention something, but I never made just political videos where I would shout at the camera, because the thing is, I never really found that to be all that useful. And the reason why that is, the reason why I never really like to talk about politics, even though these days I kind of like to. Well, these days I do because I'm annoyed in general. But back in the good days, I never did because I recognize that, number one, you're not coming to me for politics. You're coming here for, like, game reviews and whether or not I think Fallout 4 is going to be any good. Which, you know, it may be, it may not be, we'll see. Might go the route of Mass Effect 2, you never know. There's something it doesn't. Okay, all these guys are going to do is chase me. So let's run them into my troops, whereupon they will gang up on them and slaughter them all. Actually, let's thin the herd here a little bit. Just a little. But yeah, you're not coming to me for politics, so why am I complaining about politics when I should just be focusing on something else? Because I'm not going to convince anybody who believes differently. God, I'm getting completely destroyed here. That believes completely differently, and you're not going to convince me, so what's the point, you know? All I'm doing is just spreading more anger more than anything else. That just seems to be kind of... I will weigh in on that, though, because I don't think that's really a partisan kind of thing. It's just, people seem so much more angry today than they did before. People really are very serious about their politics, and I ran straight into an invisible wall. I'm trying to find my troops. I think it's on the other side. People are very angry about their politics. It's like they almost have a fanatical fervor when it comes to it. It's very sad. Very sad to say the least. I'm reminded... I hate using this as an example, but it kind of reminds me of Skyrim almost. Skyrim for the Nords. Where? Yeah, fuck it. Charge. And they can hear that all the way over here because I have a radio. Wait, no, I don't. I have a magic radio. Well, already, my fucking militia are just chopping into him. Okay, because if I could turn and fight, but there's still a bit too many, but I'm gonna have to anyway. So let's just start turning and let's get this guy here. At least my horse is slightly better. Oh, great! Now they can all come around here. Now they're all chasing me. So you won't see any more political crap from me, that's for sure. The old Dark Age General Lotz is at an end. Which is incidentally why I decided to take all of the various reviews I've been working on and scrapping them and starting fresh. I don't want my stuff to become crappy, that's for sure. Or stale. That's really one of the problems with a lot of the latest YouTube... Well, not late. It's a lot of problem these days with other YouTubers. Some, not all. Oh, pimp slap. Well, how about a sword slap? I think my sword will probably work better than just the back of your hand, mate. That's the problem. Everybody's kind of getting burned out recently. It's like, if you look at Linkara, his stuff isn't bad. It's just, he's been doing it so long. He needs to be more serious. It's one of the things I like about my videos, is I didn't start out as being just humorous. I started out as having some humor, but not much humor. It was more about just discussing certain things. Certain elements, certain items, as I put it in my channel trailer. Because I don't just review games, books, or movies, although speaking about books and movies and games, when I finally get around to making that fucking Spider-Man month, which I can probably get started on soon enough, since there aren't any PC games. I'm gonna do a retrospective of the Spider-Man animated series, because I recently saw that, and it was actually pretty bloody good. It's as good as I remembered it, at least. And really, if you're looking for a good jumping-on point for the Marvel Universe as a whole, Spider-Man the Animated Series is great. Everybody shows up in that show. You got Blade, Iron Man. I don't think the Hulk shows up. But you got the X-Men, voiced by the original actors, although I think they got a new guy for Gambit, because he didn't sound right. But you got most of the actors from the original X-Men animated series. But just about everybody shows up. Black Cat shows up. She's actually a major character. Kraven the Hunter, the Punisher. The Punisher works because he actually he's not shown to be, he's not kidified, I guess is the best way to say it. He doesn't kill anybody on screen, but it's implied that he does do a lot of killing. And basically the only reason why he doesn't try to kill Spider-Man, well, at first, is the fact that his mission commander, I forget his name, it's not Whistler, because that's Blade's guy. Are they all dead? Are they woohooing? No, there's one guy left. Okay, so I don't think anybody died. And we got a lot of good XP from this fight. We need to actually do a couple of quests at some point. There's the any key to leave, and we captured one guy. So we get a total of $50 from that guy. But let's see. So Blade shows up and is pretty cool. I think his backstory in the show ended up being used in the Blade film series. Speaking of which, I actually recently watched some of the first two of the Blades and found them to be rather entertaining. I'm surprised I had missed them for so long. Sweet. Also upgraded some more Man-at-Arms, finally! Footman. Okay, we're doing good. Now I gotta decide if I want to go and let's get some agility. Power strike, already got all that. Power throw, weapon master. We're already doing pretty good when it comes to that. Trainer. Let's get one more trainer. Point there, and looting. Yeah, looting won't hurt. And let's start dumping everything the pole arms, because pole arms on horseback are generally the best way to go. But the Blade film series was pretty damn good. It knew what it was. I don't think we'll ever see. I don't want to fight the mountain bandits because the horses get annoying. Let's go say. As you can see, we had to pay him $81 whole. Let's go save these guys. let's rush to the aid of our peasant, of the peasants, and see if we can make sure they are not oppressed. Because we actually got a legit horse, and it's not powered by coconuts. Although, I'll tell you guys this. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, didn't think it was that amazing. I thought it was good, but people basically hold it as the Holy Grail of humor, and I don't really think it is. It's funny, but I think... I'm not sure... See, that's the thing. I'm not sure how much Monty Python and the Holy Grail is popular because it's actually that good, or because everyone says it's that good. That's kind of the problem with 2001: A Space Odyssey, is everyone says it's great, and so you just assume it's great. But then you actually sit down and watch it, and it's not very good. And then everybody's like, well, you just don't get it. And my thought is this. The people who say you just don't get it, have they actually seen it? Now, for some people, they actually have seen it and could probably give you a six-page research paper on why it's so great. But I would guarantee that half the people who say it's amazing have not seen it. Just a couple farmers. The Sea Raiders. The Nords. Farmers kind of outran the infantry. They're not very good at what they do. Or I'm just not a very good commander. I'm going to blame the farmers, because they're peasants, and I'm a nobleman. So clearly, I am right by divine right. Oh, that guy got taken out. No, my footman! Did just one of you, just one of them... well, maybe it was a Sea Raider. What? Well, she got killed. I can't even get... There's so many of you, just kill him! Sometimes their AI leaves a little bit to be desired. Once again, good XPs. Max solo XPs. Let's see. And I can't carry half of that shit. Okay, let's... We don't need the bent arrows or the felt boots. Well... Both helmets are worth the same amount. Nordic sword. Do I use... I don't even use a sword, so fuck that. Let's see. 95. Battered round shield. I will take the Nordic shield, which is way superior to everything else. Basically, you want to take on the Sea Raiders because they have the best loot. And as we all know, in any fantasy game, loot is the most important. Okay, let's see. Who leveled up? Footman. Another man-at-arms. And our Vingir guy died. Go to Sumjaba. Oh, I already went here. Ah, fuck it. I'm gonna do a village quest right now. Let's go sell all this shit. Recruit another guy, and then I think we could take out some sea... No, we can't take out the Sea Raiders yet. Let's see, is there a ransom broker in here? You go to ransom brokers to sell the prisoners. And essentially, when you sell the prisoners, they basically are just... It's not realistic in the slightest. Essentially, back in the Middle Ages, and I say Middle Ages, that doesn't mean anything. Essentially, there was a concept at one time where, like, let's say you have a knight. You capture him, and you ransom him to his family. And so that's what happens here. You take one of these prisoners to a ransom broker, and he's ransomed to his family. Even if it's just a mountain bandit. I imagine that ransom is huge. One whole gold piece. But then again... Well, I say one whole gold piece. God, I could get into economics, and that would be so boring it's not even funny. Okay, this is like a partner you can get, but he doesn't have any good skills. You don't have them skills, man. And over time, you can recruit one of the... of course nobody wants to join the party. You know what? Fuck it. I don't need you. I don't need any of y'all. Let's go to fucking Scandinavia. That's not a country. It's a region, but I can't think of a specific Scandinavian country at the moment. Let's recruit from them. Okay, that's a lot of Sea Raiders. Let's just take on the looters. We need more troops, but we need more better troops that actually have horses and good weapons. But it takes a little while. Go up the hill, you worthless idiots. I only thought that in game. I didn't say it. But recently, I've been getting into a D&D mood. I'm trying to decide if ever I want to try to start a... well, not necessarily a D&D mood, but the tabletop mood. Recently, I've wondered if I should try to start a campaign, an online campaign for Aliens Fusion. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that, but I highly recommend looking it up. Essentially, it's a tabletop... Essentially, you guys who play tabletop games, it's essentially an Aliens tabletop game. Well, it is free, because you can just download the files. I don't know how it ranks up with the other tabletop game systems out there, as I've never played anything other than D&D, and it wasn't very fun. I will always relate the epic journey where we... the only thing we did in that campaign is we killed some cows, cut them up, and sold them for gold. And then by that point, I was so bored I had to drop out. Because, like, literally... Okay. Every move was a botch, now that I actually know what that is. So it's like, here I am trying to hit this lizard. It's like we had to fight a lizard once. Trying to fight this, basically a overly large monitor lizard. Can't hit it. I think one of the people in our party botched so bad they effectively hit themselves in the leg with their own arrow. Brilliant, right? And I'm blaming the DM on this because, you know what? Don't be so fucking difficult. Okay, mainly past the day. Old family. Not like the consequences. If you don't do whatever I order you to, then seek your fortune elsewhere. I think it will... 500? I'm not sure what she does. No, that's the wrong person. We're looking for somebody else. We want somebody with good trading skills. And is this a ransom broker? No. I don't know what he does. I remember the people who have good trading skills. And you want them and one who's really good at... I'm pretty sure that person we just passed up on was oh, really? Bandits? Yeah, this will happen randomly. Thankfully, we've got decent weapons for once. Although, generally, I probably should have kept that Nordic sword. Oh god, am I gonna die? No, I got knocked down, but I got up again. I forget how the rest of the song goes. Stabby, stabby, stab, stab, stab! That song sucks. Okay, we got one. Can we have two? Come on. Oh god. If I get killed by one bandit... I don't even know what happened there. Where did he bleed out? I got $100, so that was something. Okay, well actually let's recruit the volunteers. Yeah, 4 guys are following us. Okay, but the Nords are primarily footmen. And I like people that are mainly on horseback. Let's go up against these Sea Raiders, shall we? Now that we actually have considerably more troops than they do. They can run faster than us, but not by far, though. That's why it's generally always wise to have good pathfinding, because that'll make you go faster in the overworld. And you need to do that eventually, because everybody will run from you, and if you can't actually attack the enemy, you can't get gold or XP or anything like that. Unless even giant armies will eventually quail in terror at your mighty attacks. Alright, so let's see. How long have we been going, I wonder? I didn't check what time it was when I started, so I can't really say. Let's get into a couple more battles, you know? Like maybe 3 more battles, maybe go on 1 quest, call it a day. I recognize that it's been almost a month since I've done anything, so I figure I might as well give you guys a video to watch. Well, actually, I should have said, give y'all a video to watch, because that's how I used to say it back in the day. I'll tell you this, if any of you guys are dealing with depression, it's definitely a difficult prospect, But the best thing to do is be very adaptable. Essentially, don't do the same old depressing crap over and over again. I used to do, up until fairly recently, as in like a week, I went on what I like to call my sad walks, where I would walk for about half a mile, sadly, and then come back. I cut that out and basically just started doing a lot of weights, as that actually perked me up a bit. So I definitely recommend doing that. Alright, so we're doing pretty good. Nobody's died yet. That's good. Come on, Swisscar. I thought you were taller than a tree. Doodly doodly doo. Although I eventually got bored with Death Clock. Is that show even on? Now we could eventually recruit one of those people, but we don't need to. And like I said, they got the best armor. And it's worth the most too, meaning that you can make a lot of money. Let's see, we'll probably kill those looters. What we will do, of course, let's level up more agility. That's always good to have. We're not getting that many prisoners right now, so we don't need to worry about that. Let's just get another point in looting. Is looting actually, that's an agility skill? Well, that's weird. Let's go to polearms. Let's get more polearm ability. Now, surely we're not going to lose to 9 guys. Okay. We're just going to charge. We're just going to let these guys go and do what they do best. No, we're not. We're actually going to attack. In real life, well, in real life. In non-recording life, I would just sit back and read my book. Although, incidentally, what I'm reading now is a fairly interesting book. I can't actually recommend it yet, because I'm not sure if it's any good. What is that thing called? It has a weird title. One I picked up by random. It is The Winds of Kalakovo. Kalakovo. I honestly couldn't tell you how that's pronounced. So far, it looks like it's a fantasy world that has different laws of physics. It seems, because they got like giant flying airships that act like sailing ships. The characters so far are generic. The setting so far is somewhat interesting, and we'll just see how it works out. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any of the sequels, but we'll see, because how I like to read is I'll read one sci-fi book, then one fantasy book, then another sci-fi, then another fantasy. Or sometimes, if it's like a series, I'll read a number... You know, you're supposed to swing that sword, not just stand there doing a threat display. But I generally prefer just alternating between fantasy and sci-fi, since I like both genres. And I wouldn't really consider like any of the other like non-fiction genres something I would just read out of hand. Well, sometimes I would, but usually it's not on any sort of set schedule. Have we got any more man-of-arms? Of course not. Got a veteran. At least he's got a horse. The more troops have horses, the better. Okay, let's go back to that city and see if the local lord there has any, Oh, wait, deserters. Bring it on. Damn, probably should have saved. You know what? Fuck it. Just charge. You get 5 renown for that. Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll finish this battle. We'll go kill some sea raiders. Well, we'll go drop the loot, kill some sea raiders, do one quest, and then call it a video. Once again, I have no idea how long this has been taking. So I don't want you guys to have to sit here too long. Ah, good. They're mainly just a bunch of archers, which means they won't be very good for good against infantry, which we like. And just look at how good horsemen actually are. They just are fucking brilliant. Once they actually become knights, but then that happens, they stupidly get trapped. If they get trapped, that's not good. Because horsemen usually cost a lot to train, as you can see. And there went my Vingir veteran. Fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. That's what happens. You kind of don't want them to ever outrun their infantry. But since it's a Let's Play, and I went a footman. Fucking brilliant. What we need is that one medic character, whose name I can't remember and whose location I can't remember either. Got him. We're not doing too bad. We only lost one high-value unit. Which means we have to recruit some more before we go attack. But that's basically this game in a nutshell. It's just fight, 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 do a couple quests. There's no real branching paths or anything. It's just a simple little game. We got 2 footmen here. That's not too bad. A 3rd man-at-arms. That will definitely help. And I leveled up again. Getting all the levels. Do we want to carry a battle axe? Eh, we don't have two-handed. Fuck yeah. Knight. Done. Dun 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 done. One playthrough of this game, I had an entire army of knights. Nothing could stand in my way of victory. I basically ruled the entire kingdom of Caledonia, or Caesarea, or whatever the case would be. Like, even Lord British himself cowered in fear at my mighty army. And eventually we'll have our mighty army. Ah, here we go. I think there's a ransom broker with his 70s porn stash. So we gotta go through the same old rigmarole, and we can sell them for 50 gold apiece. See, that's the thing. Like, when they don't die, it's like, okay, you capture them, right, and you take them there, and you have to fight them all over again. So they get ransomed to their families, like, well, there's not much else to do. Let's just maraud. Alright, so we have 11 troops. That is good. Let's see, more looters. Looters are boring. Let's go loud, ladies and gentlemen, and take down some sea raiders. I think we can do it. And also, you can sack caravans, loot villages, although you don't want to. Let's help the farmers. This will be our last battle. You'll be good guys. You'll be lawful good. Although, incidentally, I took the D&D alignment test, and I actually turned out to be lawful, not lawful neutral, neutral good. That's what I was. So that's cool. At last, something recognizes my awesomeness. Because humility is also something that is in neutral good. Or lawful good. I can't remember what I'm saying. My brain stopped working. Oh god, these guys though. They have the best armor, best weapons, and they're definitely worth a lot of money apiece. Okay, I think I've taken a shitload of damage. I need to heal. Well, I can't actually. You can't heal in battle. You heal out of battle. So, by I need to heal is I need to basically not get killed, because once you get killed, your army can't fight on without you. Even though there's, I do know that there are dozens of mods that can fix that. Well, I mean, not dozens of mods, but there is a mod that fixes that. This game is very moddable. There's many mods for this game. Hell, Mountain Blade Warband is basically a mod that you pay for. I just haven't, because I am a cheap bastard like that. There's also, I think, a Lord of the Rings mod. I still need to read Lord of the Rings. I thought that said pregnant woman for a moment. I was like, well, that's dark. And what's she doing on the front lines anyway? Well, there went a footman. And there went me! Fucking brilliant. You know what? Fucking do it. One footman killed. Do it. Are they all gonna die? 2 minute arms? Without saving. Yes, never auto resolve. If you never ever auto resolve, you will regret it. Never ever auto resolve, because you could have an entire army of knights. I did that once because I got knocked off my horse and killed. Or knocked unconscious is the better way to put it. I had my entire army of knights. I could fight thousands of enemies. And the computer ensured that I lost immediately. That was utterly brilliant. I guess you can't replace a competent military commander, even if I just stand at the top of this hill and do absolutely nothing with a computer. Oh yes, and if anybody wants me to talk about Windows 10, I'm probably not going to upgrade anytime soon to that. I used Windows XP till 2010, and the only reason I upgraded was because I wanted to be able to record audio at the same time as I recorded video. That was it. That was the only reason. Because Fraps would not do that unless I had Windows 7. So yeah. No Windows 10 for me, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And sometimes, and you know, Windows 7 works fine. Hell, half the time. The only reason you'd ever really want to upgrade, I guess, is to be able to use the more advanced versions of DirectX, but half the time I just stuck with DirectX 9C, and it worked fine enough. The thing is, that's why I don't really upgrade my stuff all that often, is because, well, if it works, it works. Why do you need to complicate matters? That's why I still use Fraps when I know that a lot of people use DX Story, and I have used DX Story. Don't get me wrong, I've used it, and honestly, I don't like it that much. I will admit the audio is possibly a little bit better with DX Story, but once again, these are internet videos. And, you know, honestly, I don't even think if this was something like that went on TV, which I don't know why you would use such legacy media for this, since this is, by its very nature, a niche sort of thing. Nobody really cares. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys can tell the difference between my audio and, say, something a bit more professional, but do you really care? That's the better question. And the thing is, half the time, nobody even notices it to begin with. You know, that's the one thing I've always recognized is I could put all this effort into making it sound absolutely 100% the greatest ever, and nobody would notice. And when it comes to that, it's like, I do have my artistic integrity, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I also recognize that, yeah, I could be focused primarily on just the audio and video, but I think the content means a bit more. So while my stuff may not sound as good as everyone else's, at least the content I'd like to think is still pretty good. I think he does something, but I forget. I forget what old Jeremiah does over there. Okay. And also, sometimes this will fill up if you sell too much shit. So you gotta watch out for that. So I went to having a sword. Let's sell those bolts, because we are never going to use them. Alright, so we're doing pretty good. We got one knight, a couple man-at-arms, and 7,000 gold. Weans like that. Okay, let's see. Who are we going to do a quest for? Something marginally entertaining, but that's not really how this works. It's a game of patience. It's a game of planning. Which I mean, you press F3 and all your troops attack. And that's it. But man, pressing that F3 is very hard. Well, it's a little more complicated than that. You want to, you know, make sure you can flank with your cavalry and all that. Smack. Smack. Okay, let's see. There's also a whole system where you can support a claimant to a throne and all that. It's decent enough. Let's talk to old King Yoroglek. Well, this is easy enough. I did not even bother reading that. I just recognized what the text was. Okay. So this is just a basic bounty hunting quest. We need to go find Tamas the Valorous. Everybody has a little... There's this game... Wow, could that be any further? Well, it could, because sometimes, like... We've only seen a fraction of the game. In fact, let's look over here. Okay, Nords, basic England, Sweden. I don't really know what historical period this would be. Let's just say France. And these are the, there's like the cons. The cons? Con! Shit, what? Or cons, like, the electronics store that's out of business. Oh, like, the Mongolian Empire. There we go. Oh, we made it. Okay, let's recruit volunteers. Let's recruit 4 of these guys, and we can take a hostile action if we want to, but we don't. We want to go to Village Center. Let's see if these idiots have any quests, too. But really, seeing the different lands doesn't really matter. It just changes the enemies that you fight. It's all pretty much the same. Once again, story wasn't the big deal of this game. It was mainly just gameplay, which I think is pretty good. Because the gameplay is a great deal of fun. It's a lot more complicated than you get most of the time these days. And sometimes less is indeed more. Incidentally, that reminds me of Godzilla. People were complaining about Godzilla. There wasn't enough Godzilla in the movie. It's like, have you ever seen a Godzilla movie before? Half the movie is stupid humies, and thankfully the humies in the fucking... Nervous man! Okay, so we gotta do is we gotta get off the horse. And this is why I actually am glad I got my sword here. Now, it'll put it away. You can't say anything. These guys are actually somewhat powerful. They can do a pretty good amount of damage to you, but thankfully I got an awesome sword, and he's down. Flute, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, well actually, we'll do this quest too. This is just a basic village quest. Once again, this is a good village quest too, because you got to train the peasants. Let's leave first. Let's go turn that quest in, because one of the other cool concepts of this game is the fact that old King Yarabark here will basically move around. All the different lords and vassals will move around and go on campaigns and stuff like that. So, if you go to, say, Castle there and talk to the guy in there, he may not be there when you go to turn the quest in. He might be any number of places. So it makes the world feel very dynamic and alive. Kind of unlike Oblivion, where unless you do it, nothing changes. Because, like, the whole world is going on around you right now. Like, you see that, like, there's a castle that was under siege. Different places will be taken by the different kingdoms. That all happens without you. So you feel like you're actually part of this world here, where instead of you just being the person that does everything. So once again, pretty cool. Pretty cool little game here. And that's probably why it's gotten very popular. Yes. I'm afraid I won't be able to do the quest. Well, I already just did it, so why is it... This is blood money, I can't accept it. Shit. The only thing we do around here is kill things. We're mercenaries, we take money from the highest of bidders. Although, I do recommend, if ever you guys get a chance, to look up a few mercenary documentaries. Very interesting watch, to say the least, because mercenaries still do exist. They're still out there. And that's one of those politically divisive things, but honestly, after watching a documentary on it, I'm not as ambivalent towards the mercs as I used to be. Does that mean I'd want to join up a merc company? Absolutely not! Let's go to these Zers. Let's do it. Get some XPs. Well, they were on the way, so I thought, you know, we might introduce them to a bit of the old steel. Let's see, and I'm not hurt this time, so I can actually, you know, fight without having to worry about getting knocked off my sword and everybody dying because they're all a bunch of blithering idiots. But so far, this has been a good Let's Play, because we haven't catastrophically failed, but we had to take 6 months in that fucking tournament to get a few dollars. Not that we used it. The thing is, you just want to have as much money as possible. It's like in real life. You want as much money as possible so when the bills come, you can pay them. I don't know how that feels. So that's why I like having thousands upon thousands of gold. That way, you know, I may not be able to have the fanciest armor, but at the very least, I can pay my troops at the end of every week. And have food. Both of which are very important. Speaking of which, we're probably going to need to buy some food. In-game, not in real life. Although I could go for a steak. Or some fried chicken. Chicken. Let's see, anything of other interest? Family Guy. The Family Guy! That's a show that used to be popular. I think it still is. I actually stopped watching around 2007, I think, just because it got way too political. Hence why I'm not being political anymore. It's like, and it's not like they were even trying to be subtle about it. It's like, when they're not even being subtle about it, it's like, why not it just become like the animated equivalent of fucking Rush Limbaugh? But anyway, it's like, it became way too political and way too crappy. But I decided to watch a little bit of it. Mainly just watch the time travel episodes. Those are pretty good. The characters of both Stewie and Brian are very well written. And whenever the characters aren't doing anything political, the show's great. It actually could be... in fact, I'd recommend that the show actually become a bit more action-adventure oriented, because when it did that, it did it well. You know, we don't need to sell that shit. It did it quite well indeed. Inventory management. Do we really need that? Yeah, we could always use some of that. Prisoner management, don't need that right now. Trainer, let's get that to 4. Well, what an idiot. Pole arms, thank you. Okay, let's go back to there, and let's train some peasants. We'll just, that's what we'll do with that. That's hilarious. Okay, let's buy some supplies. But what you mean, we will buy some chicken, some butter, because that's healthy. Some of that. But let's sell them all the weapons. See? Makes sense. Let's not get the chicken then. You guys can just have honey and butter. Because that's how humans eat. Okay, now let's train the peasants. It'll take 9 hours to train. And sometimes you can make time go by faster if you just camp or stay in a castle or something like that. One has grasped the training. Well, these must be some brain trusts. And theoretically, they're all going to look the same. Alright, you did good. The first thing you need to do is learn how to block. And I got a high-ass training skill, too. Most of the time, I don't put anything into training. After we train one of these guys, what we will do... Is it going to be the same guy? Yep, it's the same guy. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Thought his hair was different for a second. Smack him. Smack. You guys will get it at some point. Okay, let's leave. Get another footman. Because we're going to need that when we act. Because, like, all these missions go the same. This will be the same as all the others. You'll train 1 or 2 guys, and then the bandits will show up, and then you'll kill them. And usually it's the same guy! Oh, I learned to block! Oh, I actually got a hit in this time. Let's see, he's gonna go. Yep, he's down. Better! You're able to get a couple hits in. Not bad. But you still need to work on that block. But I think Family Guy these days is probably vastly superior to The Simpsons. I hate to say it. But then again, Family Guy has been going on as long as The Simpsons. The Simpsons is just shameful. It really is. Because, like, my God. How the mighty have fallen. Although, I'll tell you this. I stopped watching The Simpsons around season 13? Something like that. Let me tell you this. By that point, that was also when the show got way too political. As in, they weren't even trying to not be political. And The Simpsons had gotten political before, but at least they were funny about it. I think that's the problem. I think it was a problem I had with my political nonsense that I tried to do. You know, it was like, political, grumpy General Lotz. Instead of, yeah, because that makes sense. Which is what I normally did. This guy's actually getting good. It's just the same guy over and over again. Okay, there we go. So it's like, The Simpsons were political before, and they were funny about it. Family Guy was political, I think, pretty much all the time, but they just weren't, or at least they were somewhat creative about it, but by the time I stopped watching, it's just like, it was basically just saying, we don't like these people. And that's about it. That's what they effectively did. It was like, and at that point it was like, and then there was the Texas episode, which was kind of annoying, but then again they made fun of everyone else, so it's like, okay, let's prepare to fight. Okay, now, I would normally leave all these idiots behind the infantry here, and just have my horsemen attack, but I barely have any horsemen, so we will have them attack. Oh, come on, don't tell me I'm going to lose a man of arms! Ah, no, get away from him! He's worth way more! I mean, he's a good man. Oh, I killed one of those mountain bandits totally by accident. It'd be nice if I could actually control the peasants and tell them, you can, but you can only do it so much, because, like, they're considered infantry, and if you tell the infantry to charge, they'll all charge. And I'd rather them not charge, because all they do is get in the real infantry's way, and all they have is basically just a bit of wood. What does this guy have? He's got nothing. No wonder they're getting slaughtered. No, they killed 2 bandits. That's not too bad. It always is a horseman. Oh, he is so fucked. He just ran into a wall. He's going to get surrounded and completely obliterated. Yay! We are the greatest of them all. Wait, no. They're not all dead. Who's still alive? Oh, there's that guy. Yay! They definitely worked on the shouts when you finally win. Makes you feel good. Okay. 10 peasants. Only 2 were killed, so that's not too bad. We lost nobody. Now you can either take it and get more honor, which is calculated in different ways and is important in some respects, but we're going to take it as our just do. Look at how much fur we got. Beef. Oh, they gave us back our 2 axes. Fuck you, guys. And so, this is General Lotz wishing you good Mountain Blade. Good Mountain Blade warband, or whatever makes you happy.